Alright, bait fitness fanatics, in this video I'll be doing cast testing session using the new Bates Hundo LTS. This freaking reel is so sexy, so amazing. If you want to learn more about this reel, do check out my unboxing video so you can learn more about this reel. Let me share with you my setup for the day for this cast testing session. The goal is to see how low I can cast with this bait finesse reel. So that's why I spooled this reel up with only 130 feet of 0.6 go. This is Varivas 4-strand carrier, and true breaking strength is at 10 pounds, very, very thin stuff. And then I have about a rod length of 4-pound mono leader material. For the rod, I'm using the Trapara rod. This is a 2-piece, 4-foot, 10-inch ultralight rod, rated down to 1 gram. So let's get out there. I'll be throwing different lures at different weights. And what I want to do first is explore the braking system, because this guy here is so cool. You have a braking system that's very, very close to Daiwa. You have an inductor cup that shoots out to the side plate where there's gonna be magnets. The magnets are fixed on the side plate, but the inductor cup, you can configure how far it goes out into the cup so that it can apply more brakes or less brakes. For this cast testing session, I'll have the inductor cup setting to 3, which is right at the middle, and see how this reel behaves. So let's get on the water and let's explore. All right, just got to the cast testing pond. We're gonna test this Bates Hundo LTS reel. We're gonna see how low this thing could go on an ultralight. And if you guys haven't watched my unboxing video, this is a relatively large spool. 34 millimeters, okay? So I don't really intend to use this reel to try to cast the lowest lure in my arsenal. I have better reels for that. This is more of a bass bait finesse reel, so I would say this reel here fits better on a light and a medium light rod. But of course, we always want to see how a reel behaves, see how low it can go, so that if you guys do want to use this for, let's say, ultralight fishing, let's see how low it could go, right? So that's the purpose of this video. So I have popped the side plate open, and I'm going to show you that I have the inner brake dial set to 3, which is dead in the center. And what we want to do first is we're going to explore the brakes. We want to see what is the sweet spot is, so that it makes my cast testing a lot easier. Also, it gives you guys an impression of how well the braking system is. So let's go. To explore the brakes, what I want to do is put a lure that's around a 3-gram level, and I have it right here. This is the Z-Man shad fries. We have a 1/16 ounce jig head plus their little 1.75-inch swim bait. Total is like 2.9 grams. And yeah, let's explore brakes. I'm gonna put this at around 7 first for the outer dial. Once again, the inner dial is at 3. Let's do a cast and see how it goes. All right, so it went to the left, so we know that the braking system here is really good, it's really strong. So we're gonna lower the brakes next. Let's go down to 6. It went out a little further, but it's still going to the left, so we could definitely lower the brakes a little bit more. Let me just tighten this a little bit there. And let's do 5. Here we go. Here we go. Getting straight now. I could probably cast a lot harder, so let's give it a shot. Okay, so definitely a lot of brakes, so we're gonna keep lowering it. This is exciting. All right, let's try 4. No overspooling, but it is getting a little further. This is nice, not too bad. And let's get down to 3. Let's get down to business. All right, getting further. Not overspooling yet. I'm gonna try to cast a little harder, because I feel like 3 is pretty low. Okay, 3 is pretty low. All right, not overspooling at all. With this short rod, it's still casting pretty good distance. Like if I were to use this for streams, that is more than enough. And I think trout folks would still love to use this reel. But we need to find out, because when you go trout fishing, you likely throw a lot lighter lures than this. Especially if you're throwing like some of those tiny little lures like trout magnets and stuff like that. But again, this reel is not made for trout magnets, but we'll see how low it goes later. Ah, it's going far. 2 brakes. Oh man. Oh man. So I've been playing with the Bates Hundo, and of course, because the spool weight is a lot different, right? I kept my reel on that specific setup on inner dial 3. I may have to loosen this a little bit. Okay, might have to lower to 2 for the inner dial, because right now I am at 2 outside and 3 inside, and it's not overspooling. Now it may overspool here. I'm using brake dial 1 now. Oh, yep, there it goes, overspooling. All right, and I almost went to the end before it backlash at the end. So I can see that, yeah, this thing is break really well. I'm gonna up it just a little bit, but you guys saw that. It's pretty far. That's pretty far cast. Let's try like 1.5. All right, 1.5. Oh, I cast it too hard there. But yep, that's over spooling. So yeah, I think the sweet spot could be anywhere between 1.5 to 2-ish, depending on your lure. And we'll fully explore that later. One more time, shall we? And this time I'm feather it. Oh, yeah, I think we're at the point where we gotta put the brakes on a little bit higher. But this is exciting. Like, break 2 earlier was pretty good. I'm gonna go 2 again, do a few more casts, and then we'll go back down a little bit. Actually, let's do 1 notch below 2, because I'm curious. Hey, turtles. Stay away from my Z-Man plastics. All right, that's pretty good cast. I did feather it because I felt like it was over spooling, but I think 2 could be a very, very safe place to cast. You know, I'm not gonna take this whole video and explore the rest of the braking module, okay? I'm gonna leave at 3 for the inner dial, but you know, when I do my own fishing and stuff like that, I may like change it up a little bit, okay? I may lower the inner dial to, let's say, 2, and then fully explore it. But right now, this is pretty good. Like, I don't mind the distance right here. This is actually really good. So I'm gonna keep it just like this, inner dial at 3, and I'm gonna use around break around 2 for all my cast testing for the rest of this video. All right, fam, here we are, the Euro Tackle Z Viber. This is the larger one, which is about 1.6 grams, a little bit under the 16th ounce. Let's give it a shot, shall we? I believe we should be able to cast this because the weight of this spool is pretty light. It's around 7-something grams with the bearings on, right? You guys can check out the overlay from my unboxing video right there. I don't remember the total weight, but it's pretty light. But the problem with light spools and big spools is that it may dispense too much line per rotation. So let's see if the braking system here will allow me to cast this light lure without overspooling too bad, shall we? Let's go. Okay, I could cast it. A little bit overspooling at the end because I missed the timing. It's very bright today because we just got done that Hurricane Debbie, and as you see, the water's pretty mucky and everything like that, but I was able to cast it out. Wow. That is nice. That is nice. Okay. Let me lower the brakes just a little bit because I think it might be going to the left just a little bit. Just a little bit. And do note that this reel here doesn't have micro bearings. If you do want to throw light lures, throwing the micro bearings on will allow you to cast a lot easier because it starts up easier. But do note that it spins faster. So with a spool this large, it may dispense too much line per rotation, causing it to overspool. So yeah, micro bearings could be helpful, but it's a double-edged sword. So you need to know your setup before you even decide if you want to upgrade or not. Okay, so let's go. Got some overspooling right there when I lowered to, that is 2 clicks under 2. Let me fix this very quick. But you gotta be careful when you guys fix your PE line, thin PE line like this. You don't wanna, you know, yank it off too quick, too hard. Else you cause too much friction and you'll damage your expensive line. Like I'm using Varivas line, well, no, not one of the best. I think it is the best out there, but you will still snap line if you mistreat your line, okay? So be very careful. Anyway, I'm gonna put it 1 click under 2 instead of 2 clicks under 2. And let me fix this for a second. I got the hook. Oh, not hook, it's grass. Yeah, they're doing some grass cutting today. Anyway, try again, and this time I will feather, and oh, I said I will feather, and I didn't feather in time. And I backlash again. But yeah, as you see, it might be dispensing too much line per rotation, especially when I put the brakes down low. Yep, it is doing it, and I am feathering too, and it's still overspooling. So what I'll do is I'm gonna put the brakes back up to 2, and I'm gonna do a few more casts and try to see if it's like truly accurate. All right, it is at 2 now, so let's go. Okay, so it is accurate and it is better. So you definitely don't want to go under 2. As mentioned, it's dispensing a lot of line. So yeah, this is impressive. Doing this guy right here, 1.6 grams, really nice, really nice. No overspooling it. See that? Anyways, let's move on to something lighter. If I were to go trout fishing, I do want to throw at least the Eurotackle EPF swim on a 1/32 ounce at 1.3 grams. So let's do it. All right, here we are. The Eurotackle EPF swim, 1/32 ounce jig head, size 6 hook. This is an amazing lure. If you guys like trout fishing, you guys like panfish fishing, this is my #1 favorite lure to throw, like for swim bait. Swim bait class, this is it. Catches them all the time. Small streams, stock ponds, you name it, this guy will do it. So 1.3 grams, let's go. Okay, I am impressed. Dude, casting 1.3 grams, this is amazing. This is amazing. Hold up, let me just double check my guides. I thought I saw something. Okay, yeah, it's just a little bit piece of grass, but wow. It's off a little bit, just a little bit. Let me just do my stance again. Just double check, do a few casts, right? All right, so it goes just to the left just a little bit. So let me lower the brakes just a little bit, okay? But I feel like I will have to feather a lot. But it's casting out, so maybe if I change my bearings, I might be able to do it a little easier, okay? So that was a 2.1, so I'm gonna do a 1.9. All right, so yeah, that is overspooling, and I was trying to feather it too, but I'm feeling it like it was overspooling as I was feathering. So as I mentioned before, you guys gotta be very, very patient when try to clear out these little overspooling right there, okay? See how it's like very tangled? If I yank it on too hard, it's gonna create some friction burns and it's gonna be bad. So there we go. Like just pull it out softly, okay? Because you pull out too fast and too hard, it's gonna knot it. Pull it out until you see the loop and try to pull some of the loops back and see if you could, you know, get it open up all the way. Then once you open up the loop all the way, then pull the main line and that should fix it. Be very gentle, guys. Be gentle. All right, so I'm gonna put the brakes back to 2. I think I want to keep this high. But yeah, you could definitely cast this. You may have to compensate depending on your setup and your casting style, okay? And there we go. That is still a little bit, just a little bit to the left. Like I would have to compensate just a little bit if I needed to be totally perfect. But for something this light here, like I said, I usually wouldn't cast something this light using a large spool. But for those who are master casters, you guys probably wouldn't care. And if you guys need one reel to do it all, this might be able to be part of your arsenal for your ultralight fishing. But yeah, I got it out there. That's like very light compensation. It's pretty much in front of me. So I am pretty impressed. Pretty darn impressed. Oh my gosh, Bates. I am loving this reel already. All right, the last lure we'll cast today is this guy right here, the trout magnet. Now note that this specific trout magnet is special because sometimes you get different plastic at different weights. Sometimes it's below 1 gram, like very low. This guy right here is the lowest. It's 0.78. But the majority of the trout magnets is close to the 0.9 grams, okay? But this guy right here, specifically, 0.78. And let's see if we can cast this. And we were playing around with it at iCast. Hunter and I were trying to cast this guy on one of my setups that I brought, and we had a lot more line than when I got here. So it was a little bit difficult, but Hunter, he was able to cast it. So let's see if we could do this. Ready? Let's go. All right, I cast it right in front of me. There you go. End of story. So we can do it. And if you guys put like a, what do you call that? Micro bearings, you may be able to cast it better, but again, because it is a larger diameter spool, you might be overspooling, okay? But I am at break 2. Actually, wait, hold up. 2 and 1 click. And my tension is just a micro clack. What if I wing it like that? All right, that overspooled just a little bit, but I'm casting it. I'm casting this, so yeah, definitely a different style of casting. If you guys are master casters, you guys can figure it out. I know some people like to change the tension up just a little bit more, like tighten just a little bit past, okay, like that, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I can't do it. But I was watching Hunter, he was playing around with the settings a little bit, okay, and like I said, he was able to cast it further than I can. But earlier, as you saw, when I was trying to cast it my style, okay, I was able to get out there just a couple cranks, not a lot, short distance, okay? But some people, that's all they need, okay? So that's all they need. Like certain times of the year, certain place, Like when all the bluegills are out here and it's spawning very close, that's all the distance I really need. Okay, so yeah, that's no compensating, so I went to the left a little bit, but if I were to compensate, look at that, right in front of me, and oh, get away from that turtle. And so far, it's not overspooling. I'm kind of getting the hang of it. All right, so folks, what you guys see me doing right now is I'm exploring the brakes at the inner dial to 2. And right now I'm at 3 for the outer dial. And the reason why I'm lowering the brakes is because if I lower the total amount of brakes here, it gives me a wider range to fine tune my casting. I'm casting just a simple lure here that I don't know the total weight, but it's from Crappy Magnet. We have a small little jig. I think this is a 1/32 ounce jig head plus their swim bait here. You guys look at the overlay and you guys see the total weight. But I'm exploring this guy here and I'm thinking, you know, with the inner dial at 2, I'm using brakes around 3 and 4. And I'm getting pretty good distance with it. So yeah, I think there is room for lower brakes. I may have to keep this at 2 now, because at 3 brakes, the inner dial that is, it's so over braked where I'm only using like the lower spectrum of the braking module out here. So I lowered the brakes so that I could fit around and explore it a little bit better. So I think I'm gonna keep at 2. 2 is where I want it at. And once again, I'm casting here. I'm not overspooling, and I'm using like 3 in 1 click. So that's really impressive, really impressive. This lure here, because the plastic is pretty long, right? So it does catch air, so I'm not getting the super distance, but it's pretty accurate, and that is acceptable distance. Like, it's actually good distance, okay? If you're throwing a plastic like that, like a 2-inch plastic with a 1/32 ounce jig head. Like, once again, I don't know the total weight, but this thing right here is pretty good, pretty good. Fishing like a pond like this, I really don't need to cast that much further if I'm throwing something this light. If I need to throw something further, obviously I'll opt for something heavier, right? But I am loving this reel. The Bates Hundo LTS BFS reel. Woo, I am so in love with this reel. I am gonna first talk about the braking system, then let's talk about the lures and the weights that I was casting. The braking system on this reel is so amazing. Once again, it's like raWr reel on crack, okay? With that little setting that you can change on the inductor cup, you can change the behavior very easily, okay? So I started this video doing cast testing with inner dial to brake setting 3, and I feel like it's over braked. So what does that mean? So as you guys have seen, when I set the inner dial to 3, I found the sweet spot is right around the 2 mark, okay? And every click, whether you go up or down, change it dramatically. So at the very last lure that I've thrown, I changed the setting so that the inner dial right on the ring is 2. And then the casting comfortable spot I found was at 3 and 1 click. And from there, because I did weaken the brakes, right? So sweet spot is a lot wider, okay? So that allows me to fine tune the braking behavior versus when I was at inner dial at 3, well, it's very narrow, okay? So it jumps very quickly. For that setting, 1 little click, you can overspool very easily. Whereas when I put it on the inner brake dial to 2, well, it may take 2 or 3 clicks before you can see the behavior change. So with that said, you might want to use this reel with the inner dial at 2 and then play around with anywhere between 3 and 3.5 brakes, or maybe even closer to 4, depending on your casting style and your lure weight. I really like brake setting with the inner dial at 2. So overall, this reel here is amazing for ultralight. I think the cutoff line is right about the 1.5 gram level. As I've portrayed, you could definitely do the EPS swim, the 1.3 grams, but it's off just a little bit. Depending on your casting style and skills, it might not be an issue at all, but I just noticed that it was just off just a little bit. But how I'll be fishing this reel is definitely on heavier lures and also on heavier rods. For my next upcoming trips, I'll be using a light tackle rod since I already have 0.6 go on it, right? So I'll probably use it for mainly crappie fishing. And then once again into the fall, I'll put this on a medium light rod, and I'll be putting on maybe like 0.8 gold PE line, or I may even do straight up fluorocarbon, 6 to 8 pounds, and do some bass fishing for some big ones before the winter sets in. If you're interested in that, make sure you turn on the bell notifications, because I'll be fishing the crap out of this reel because I am so in love with this reel and I can't wait to fish it. And if you guys have any questions, don't forget, leave me a comment below. Let me know in the comments. And also, I'll left some information in the video description. Thank you for watching. The fish don't wait. Check you out on the next episode.